We've been waiting for this day to come along for so long.
Greetings, travelers. I'm your host, the C. That knows a lot, Dr. Waluigi. As someone who takes great pride in their country, it's sad for me to say that I don't own a ton of Canadian-made films. While the West is the central hub for filmmaking, all of the films made here that are popular are from the US. So when I come across a film that was made in Canada, I consider it a golden treasure, as we produce a lot of great films, especially horror, that not many people know about. Sadly, I wish that this film was one I could recommend as a good example of Canadian horror films, but I do think there is something here that could have been made into a good movie, and I feel those things are worth talking about in this video. This is my review of the 80s Canadian supernatural slasher film, Killer Party.
We've been waiting for this day to come along.
The movie was written by Barney Cohen and directed by William Fruit, two people whose names may not be well known in the film world. Barney Cohen's only famous credit was that he wrote the screenplay for Friday the 13th Part 4, and William Fruit is only known for Death Spasms and Blue Monkey. But they are known better for their work in television, with Cohen having helped create the 90s adaptation of Sabrina the Teenage Witch and the Canadian vampire TV series Forever Night, while Fruit wrote several episodes for the Goosebumps TV series. This movie had been in development hell and had gone through multiple titles like Fool's Night and April Fool, but it was later changed to Killer Party after Paramount released their own slasher film called April Fool's Day. The most notable thing I could find out about the movie is that it was the last film to be made by MGM before the company was sold off to the late Ted Turner. Which is probably why there isn't any information on how much it cost to make, as the movie was in production while the buyout was still going on. Critics at the time liked the movie, as while many considered it a slasher film, it had some supernatural elements that made it stand out, enough that it has become a cult classic and got a Blu-ray release thanks to Shout Factory. This was a random movie I found while walking around one day, and the cover got me curious to check it out. I will say that I too liked it for the more supernatural parts and the kills, but I wasn't a fan of how it was advertised as a slasher film when there weren't that many slasher elements in the movie, or at least ones that I enjoyed.
We've been waiting for this day to come along.
The movie centers on three friends who are trying to get into a sorority and do the whole hazing ritual thing to get in, which ends up leading to the girls helping the sorority and one of the fraternities set up a party in a closed-off fraternity house for Hell Night. However, things start to take a turn for the worse when the demons haunting the place start to awaken from the partygoers, and on the anniversary of a terrible accident that happened many years ago, which leads to several deaths of the kids and the two friends having to fend off against said demon after it possesses the other friend. Can they save their friend, or will she end up as another victim of the Killer Party?
We've been waiting for this day to come along.
The cast does a decent job with the roles they're given, despite being in a slasher film. The three girls, Vivia, played by Sherry Willis Birch, Jennifer, played by Joanna Johnson, and Phoebe, played by Elaine Wilkes, are decent characters that play three different stereotypes: the nerd, the party girl, and the girl who knows that something is wrong with the house. They each play their roles well as the other characters, like the sorority girls, as well as some of the fraternity boys. But truthfully, none of them really stand out from the other horror films that I've seen over the years. Which is disappointing, as one of the actresses in this was a famous Canadian voice actress, along with many other Canadian and American actors that are in a few things that I recognize. I don't think that this cast is bad, but the writing does leave something to be desired.
We've been waiting for this day to come along.
I will say that I do like some of the ideas in this movie. The haunted house story is always a classic, with it being connected to a tragic event. The kills and the scares are pretty good once they start going, ranging from electrocutions to decapitations, and the atmosphere in the house is very creepy. Unfortunately, what I'm describing for the positives happens in the last third of the movie.
We've been waiting for this day to come along.
Sadly, while the movie has a lot of good ideas for a haunted house movie, it wastes them on an incredibly boring and generic college story that takes up an hour of the movie. We don't get a lot of the great kills or even the possession stuff until the last third of the movie, but by then you've either fallen asleep or found a different movie to watch by then. Which is a shame, because these are some really great kills and the makeup for the demon looks great. But that is one thing that does bug me, whether or not the movie's monster is a demon or a ghost. The movie explains that due to a prank gone wrong, a kid was killed in the house where the party is taking place. So throughout the movie, you assume that the monster is just the spirit of the kid who wants revenge. But when he appears, it feels like the writers changed it to a demon with how it talks and states that it is a demon. I'm not sure if this was due to the many issues going on with the company getting sold off, but these and many other writing changes are what hold this movie back from being a great supernatural horror film.
We've been waiting for this day to come along.
I wish this was one of the better horror films I could recommend, but sadly it falls into the boring and dull category that feels like a college sex comedy and a haunted house film were put together, except that someone forgot to tell the producers and director that this was supposed to be a horror film. I don't blame the crew or cast for this movie's failings, as they do a good job of what they were given, but they couldn't save this movie, and it should have been either scrapped or at the very least be rewritten. Overall, I give Killer Party a 3 out of 10. Despite having some good ideas here and there, you'd be better off watching other haunted house or demonic possession films of the decade like Night of the Demons or The Evil Dead. Thanks for watching, I'm Dr. Waluigi, and remember, don't judge a book by its cover, cause you'll never know what's inside. Good night, everyone.
We've been waiting for this day to